Mr. Chairman, here we are, 30 days from Election Day?
Sure.
A month out, a little bit of change. How do you see the race right now today, and why do you believe that Amy Kennedy is better positioned to win?
Well, I'm feeling really good about the race. I would say, candidly, I'm feeling better about the race now than I was a month ago. I think Amy's got a whole lot of momentum. I think the ads are tremendous. I think we're really beating Jeff on the airwave fight. Frankly, I think the House Majority PAC ads are really good. They kind of characterize the congressman of what he is, but it's subtle enough where it's not really, picking a side in the Trump-Biden fight. I think whether you're Republican or Democrat, those ads resonate because they show that, hey, this guy will do anything to keep his job. And, the guy does well in life. No one needs to be a congressman. So it shows that this is what this guy's doing. He's just another politician trying to keep a seat in Congress. So I think we're feeling really good. I think Amy's got to win Atlantic County by at least 5 points. I think we're on our way to getting there. We're coordinating directly with them on a whole lot of things. And I think I'm cautiously optimistic we're going to win.
Going back to the beginning of this crisis without end and until presumably November 3rd, why was it so important that Jeff Van Drew not resist the impeachment opportunity? And when you talk to your rank and file members and Democrats in Atlantic County, clearly you all believed that it was proper that the House proceed with impeachment. He didn't think so. Getting back to that root conflict, could you just reassert why it was important that that occur?
So I think it was a watershed moment for our country. I think it was a watershed moment for our party. There's no doubt when Jeff was in the legislature and in Congress, he got some passes on some votes. Because the thought was, okay, you're a Democrat in Cape May County, you may not vote for this way or that way, but it's better than nothing. But it was different with impeachment, Max. What this guy did, coordinating with Russia, putting our democracy at risk, now in light of him not paying taxes, potentially owing foreign governments money, it was really a watershed moment. And not only was it a huge distraction for our candidates in 2019, his no vote on the impeachment rules, but look, in light of what we know now, it's really puts our democracy at risk when we have a president potentially so co-opted by foreign governments who's supposed to be looking out for us. So it did become a litmus test, quite frankly, and sometimes you got to lay down the law. And I think if I and we, as the party with leaders and county committee members, had we stuck with Jeff after him voting no on impeachment, I think we would have lost all credibility. So it was a matter of fact that, hey, you got to vote for impeachment, or we're going to go in a different direction. I think in hindsight, because he's losing Amy Kennedy, I think he's wishing that he voted for impeachment because he probably would have token opposition by the Republicans now, and he would have been still a congressman. So, in light of having a great candidate like Amy Kennedy, I wouldn't do anything different. We held our ground on impeachment. Jeff took his ball and went home, turncoated us to the Republicans, but now we're going to kick his butt with Amy, so we're looking pretty good.
Mike, your reaction to the debate the other night?
I had to take a sip of coffee for that. I thought it was disgrace. I thought it was embarrassing. I think the president's unhinged. I agree with Nancy Pelosi. The guy should have never, our guy, Biden, should have never debated Trump in the first place. It gained nothing. It's sad that you have to get to the point where the Presidential Debate Commission is saying maybe we have to put mute people's microphones. I don't think that happened with Reagan and Carter. I don't think that happened with JFK and Nixon. We look like the laughing stock of the world. And I think it's important for us. We have a climate crisis, we have a racial crisis, we have an economic crisis, we have a health crisis. We also have a foreign policy crisis in terms of we are not respecting the world anymore. And I think you have episodes like that, and the United States is a laughing stock. We're supposed to be the world superpower, not anymore. So I think, Biden and Harris, a big thing in them is restoring our credibility in the world. Not just ending episodes like this, but getting the Paris Climate Accords and taking leadership roles again. And you look at other fledgling democracies, they look at us and like, oh my goodness, that's the United States now? It's embarrassing.
A lot of people, Republicans especially, will talk about his style. And how, well, we don't agree with his style, but we think that on substance he's really doing well for the country. But your best argument, Mr. Chairman, about why he is in fact failing at the maintenance of office in a time of crisis in particular.
He has no intellectual curiosity. Here's a guy who doesn't read his daily briefing, a guy who doesn't care about his daily briefings, a guy who is solely focused on getting reelected. No intellectual curiosity, like I said, just doesn't care about working class people. All he cares about is getting reelected and the stock market. That's it. And I think we're paying a big price for it. I think this is what happens when, frankly, you have people who have no military or elected experience becoming president. I think the good thing is, look, I'm cautiously optimistic Biden's going to win. I think what's comforting for me is I think, there is a group of the American people who didn't like Hillary, voted for Trump. They want to take a chance, and I think they took a chance on an uber populist candidate, and I think they got it out of their system. It's like okay, we tried it, and I'll never. It's like you're interested in food, you eat it, and you said I'll never eat that again. So I think the American people tried it. They're never going to do it again, so we can move on. And I think the Atlantic even had an article about how was Trump's election really just a fluke? And I think if Biden wins, I think that will be the case. I don't think it's this big transformation or realignment of the parties. I think 2016 was a fluke, and that was it. And then Biden's Trump's going to go away, make $1 million doing Trump News Network, and that'll be it.
Trump supporters give the economic argument. They say, well, the economy's doing well. People vote their pocketbooks, so I can live with even everything you said. The fact that he doesn't have any intellectual curiosity is not tangential to the economy. And you say?
I think if you have stock and you are a day trader, it's been tremendous. Most Americans don't have stock absent a 401k or any sort of investments, so they weren't really feeling the successes. And I think you would look at even, I think Senator Sanders even brought this up. Income inequality has only gotten worse over the decades, and that's a big deal. I think you look at the Trump tax scam. All the tax cuts went to the rich, didn't help folks like you and me. So, I think there's this good economy out there for a certain class of Americans, but most of us aren't feeling that. So that's why I'm glad we had the HEROES Act. I mean, I'm hopeful, some of those aspects of the HEROES Act can get passed by Congress to help folks during this pandemic. And the other part of it is certainly, look, Pelosi and Mnuchin are negotiating on a COVID relief package. I hope some agreement, compromise comes about. We need it. Again, we had the HEROES Act. I think Jeff has on that, so much for his help in this. But hopefully we can help folks. But outside the stock market, look at here. We got 25% on capacity in these casinos. You have a lot of casino employees who are on paper employed, but they haven't gotten any hours. So I don't call that employed. I think on paper you're employed, but you ain't making any money. So it's a tough economy out there.
The perception in the rest of the district, getting back to the congressional District 2 race, is that it really comes down to Atlantic County. You're on the front line of this fight to get Amy Kennedy elected. There's also a perception, we look at the headlines today, of a defection at the local level by a Democratic committee member, that maybe there's too much fracture here. Two-part question, Mike. Could you address your confidence level about the coherence of your own county for Amy Kennedy, A, and B, do you sense, and you alluded to it earlier, Republicans who are maybe not gung-ho about Van Drew, the fracture on the Republican side, less than full-blooded support for Van Drew because he's perceived to be a Benedict Arnold?
Well, Atlantic County is 1,000% united for Amy Kennedy and for the whole column B ticket. The gentleman you mentioned had a dispute with the mayor of Atlantic City. That's their business. I wish the gentleman well, and I hope him and his family stay safe during this time. But Atlantic County solid behind Amy Kennedy and the whole ticket. We're really fired up. And I think part of it, look, in order to win this election, we do need to get some of the soft Republicans who aren't thrilled with Jeff. And I think, and with those folks, this Trump is a jerk message doesn't always work. I think Amy's message has been really good in terms of healthcare, in terms of the economy, and really not making this a party issue. They're making it say, hey, I'm the best person. How are you? So taking a break for.
That's what